Alright, folks, here's what I'm up to and going to be up to for a little while, along with many other projects, by the way. But Adam over at SoDak Model Cars is hosting a pretty cool Friends Customs Model Group build, and I chose to jump in because I like the idea, I like the method, I like the whole thing. The cars are cool. So anyway, I chose a couple of kits before he spun the wheel of trends, and I could have chose a few other options, but I kind of wanted to do the polyglass gasser 62 Pontiac Catalina, I believe it is. It just seemed like the right car for my personal taste to kind of mess with. Plus, I've had this kit for God knows how long. So anyway, I dug it out. I chose it. Paid my entry fee. He spun the wheel and got the 3 themes that were required. And I looked back at the kit and thought, are those going to work on here? Yeah, I think so. So the 3 themes that are needed are half top, vertical grills, and louvers or vents. So the half top, not a big deal. Just cut it across the top, almost like a convertible, but leave the back section of it. Managed to do that, no problem. Car still looks cool. Exposes the interior, not a bad thing. Vertical grills. Well, the Pontiac, as you can see, it has a center to the nose. That's kind of Pontiac Catalina specific, but that's okay. It can be bypassed, or it can be modified to still go back on, or it hasn't been fully determined yet, as I'm not quite there yet. But the kit also comes with some pretty cool tufted interior with side panels and seats. I am going to choose that option. It does have the 421 Super Duty engine, which, as you'll see in a minute, is a beautiful piece. Got lake pipes, which weren't part of the theme, but they're part of a custom, and yeah, I'm probably most likely going to be using them anyway. The chrome steelies, yeah, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, haven't really quite decided on wheels. That'll be much later down the road. It has a custom grill, and since I'm supposed to be doing vertical, not horizontal, I had cut the headlights off so that I could use just the bezels and then work out something different in the middle. So that part is taken care of. And doing some research, I came across this old image of the kit, and yeah, that's a custom, all right. No door handles, no badging, no trims, basically just clean and simple on white walls with steelies and a simple paint color or fade. Not bad. Not bad. So anyway, I do what I normally do, and I dig out all the parts and get some of the big stuff off the tree so that I can have space, because literally this is my workspace right here, you can see. And having a whole bunch of parts trees takes up too much space. Plus, I get to individually go through part by part, getting rid of all the sprue tree marks and the mold seams and the pin marks and whatever other flash and blemishes are on there. Same with the exhaust, get to smooth them all the way around. All the detail parts and pieces and everything else. And as you can see in the bottom right there's a little bit of bright blue, because I also started building the motor, because I wasn't really sure what I'm doing with the body yet. Completely, So I started with the motor, because it was going to be Pontiac blue no matter what. And once I got a bunch of the smaller detail parts painted and put together, and of course I do the full sub-assembly of the engine and paint it as a unit, because I wasn't doing a aftermarket intake, didn't want to do the chrome valve covers, stuff like that. So to put it all together, spray it up. Oil pan is left separate because you can't paint between the oil pan and the transmission when it's together, so you paint it first and then put it on. Yeah, I got it. I got that taken care of. So anyway, then the interior, as you can see here, the tufted and the stock. I have two models already built, one with tufted, one with stock, and yeah, they're both older builds, but for a custom, the tufted is the obvious choice. The stock is kind of not really feeling the vibe there for this, so that's an obvious choice. And the body stayed in its wrapper for a while as I went through the other parts and cleaned up some stuff and did my thing. And the kit is pretty cool. It comes with different front springs, and I think there's a different arch to the A-arms, upper A-arms. The wheel backs are both different. One is a bigger size than the other because the white walls versus the polyglass versus the red lines that come in the kit. Yeah, 3 sets of tires. Even the backers, or the little mountain pegs, the holes are different size. So you get 2 full trees of stock ride height and lowered ride height. Same here, like the pin, the kingpin, basically the axle shaft for the front suspension. One's definitely higher than the other, so one will sit lower than the other, and I didn't really see any difference in the rear part, so I'm not sure why they did that, but the coil spring size is definitely different. Then you get unpainted steel wheels with a certain ride height shock. You get the chrome wheels as well. I didn't take a picture of that part, did I? No, I didn't have them open at the time, but as you can see, there's some chrome steelies up in there. And this is actually kind of interesting too, because other than the grill and the bumpers, the rest of this little stuff, like the wheel trim ring, couple antennas, the air cleaners, there's something else in here. This is all duplicated on the second tree. It doesn't have the extra rims and the side pipes. It doesn't have the stock grill, bumper, tail light. It has the custom options and a whole lot of extra space. So kind of cool. Get a couple extra air cleaners, a couple antennas. So I'll probably be mounting antennas on this thing just because I can. And as you can see, the white walls with their white separate inserts. It's most likely the option I'm going to go with here. So anyway, I took out the body and started working on the trends thing. I cut the roof right out first. Got that pretty well done. I haven't decided if I want to go straight or curved on here. So for right now, it is completely straight. I did open the windows, set in the front one so that I can see how far I need to cut this, and straight up the pillar was perfect. I had a little shaving to do on the glass because it has a little bit of a curve, so it stuck out a little more in the corners than it did in the center. So I basically went with a straight line, cut the glass to match. The rear, I had to do a small adjustment to where it met the trunk line. I had to drill open the holes because it kind of wanted to sit crooked, like one of the holes was too far that way, and it pushed the glass in, left a gap. So I wallered them out a little bit so it'd sit flush in there where it belongs. It also comes with some clear sheet for the side windows, so I cut both of them out so I can install them if I want to. Not sure if I want to go all the way up, half up, or completely out and not there. Also drilled a couple of holes and put these headrest roll bar support looking thingies in there. Little custom touch, why not? And as you can see, this 421 Super Duty dual quad, that's pretty nice motor. A little better picture there for you. After some research, it has a blue fuel filter from the factory with the factory blue paint on the rest of it. It comes with the fuel pump that goes up to here, and then this line feeds both of the carburetors. They're two separate pieces that glue right here, so of course it's got to be a brass fitting, right? I mean, how else do you get a T-junction? Got to be brass. My guess, so I went with brass. And I wasn't sure what the heck this deal was, if it was a piece of flash or a piece of bracketry for the throttle linkage or what, so I've left it for now. It's not super thin. It's actually got a little bit of heft underneath it where it mounts to the carburetor, so I'm not exactly sure if I'm keeping this and then just running a line up to here to make it look like throttle linkage, because why not, you know? So anyway, the motor's pretty well done. I got a few other things to deal with. I did drill out the holes for spark plug wires. I did drill out the center of the distributor if I wanted to throw 8 lines in there and then just bend them out. I do still have the pegs sticking up for the actual distributor mounts. I don't tend to go that anal about my distributor wires, okay? If they all 4 lean one direction on each side and that's 8 of them, fine. Or if they spaghetti around one another in so-called accurate firing order, I personally don't care. But anyway, after cutting the roof off the body, when I got the headrests, these little buggers here, I was going through a parts kit that I had that was missing a lot. It had a chassis, interior tub, and a body, and a few other parts, but didn't have door panels, dash, and a bunch of other stuff, so I grabbed these. And I also grabbed these cool little heat extractor vents, which are basically louvers on the side of your 20s, 30s, sometimes 40s model cars. Not just models, but actual make model. So I dug these out, put them on a piece of tape and traced them, put the tape on here, marked out from here to back, so watched out for the inner fender well, so I had room to mount both directions. They got a nice little mounting flange and a little depth so that they're flush mounted, and being a Pontiac, I figured the circle would be perfect for like the Indian Chief head, with these being extractors and then a little chrome trim on them. I put some black wash in there and they highlight the chrome and they look really good. This one's just pressed in from the back and they fit pretty snug. Honestly, not the super smoothest of cut lines. I think the other side has a little bit more up here and a little less down here, whatever, but they fit pretty good. I got a little bit of body work to do on that, which is fine because I obviously hadn't done a whole lot of body work yet, just modifications. And then when we get to the tail end, I thought about cutting the trunk open. I did a little research and had to figure out where that little cut line was because you can't see it on the model. Normally you have the waterfall effect where you got the deck lid and then it's part of the rear fascia panel. Not on this one. Where the deck lid comes down to a chrome trim, that's your trunk line. Then everything below that line right there is the back panel. And as you can see, I got this vertical grill for the tail panel, which used to actually say Pontiac, and it would have the keyhole, and this part wouldn't go up and down with the trunk. This would all stay put. But looking at the real pictures, there's actually basically it's a big V underneath here that this lands on the real car. with the trunk latch and everything else. And so I'm like, this actually fits the bill. It works perfect. It was just a tad short to make these curves the way I got it mounted in there. But once the bumper is on there, they cover them curves. So I think if I just fill them in, glue, Bondo, whatever, and then chrome them, it'll look like the grill goes straight into the tail lights. And then the tail lights are like a half crescent moon. Then obviously the bumper below it, so that's all pretty good and fine. But it gives you that nice vertical grill, which actually goes with the front grill. As you can see here, this is the tail panel with the C-shaped lights, and then this is the front grill. I had two of these, so I figured, what better? One at the front, one at the rear. Why not, right? And that's why I cut the headlights off of the optional grill so that I can round this out a little bit and get them to fit up in there. It wasn't sitting completely squared, obviously, but this will all be pretty nice once it's all said and done. Clearly, I got a small bit of adjustment to make here. The back side of it, this actually has the angled pointed nose grill kind of thing, whereas this has a subtle curve to it. So I had to notch out the back of this without getting into the gills so that it'll settle down in there. And so far I got it going pretty good. But as you can see, I did manage to take my time and cut the trunk lid out. Got that cut open. And then I went through and made a surround for it. Used the back window to figure out where my back panel had to be for the trunk lid. Got that sorted so it didn't interfere with the glass. Now I can make hinges and actually get the trunk to work. And here's that big flat landing pad, basically. And if you look at pictures of the real 62 Catalina, this is about what it exactly looks like. The latch is actually inside rather than on this flat panel, I believe. And yeah, it's pretty cool. I dig it. It worked. So we got the vertical grill front and rear, we got the half cut roof, and then we got some louvers to start with. I do think I'm probably going to add some more, but then I started mocking up the interior. This is just setting together. We got a couple pieces of tape holding the sides on at the moment and resting up against the firewall because it has to mount specific to the interior tub before anything, but it was just to get the visual in my head. What color am I doing this thing? Which I still haven't decided yet. It has a nice simple dash with the 0 to 120 or whatever gauge going lengthways instead of circles or squares or whatever. It's got the long simple gauge. Normally all of this would either be black and then chrome and black, or whatever color I decide, I guess. But body color metal with some chrome, and then all this tufting and two-toning and multiple pedals, and yeah, it's going to be fun. So anyway, there's a side shot of it, and I think one of the things I've been struggling with is the color to paint it. I'd like to do 2 or more colors if possible, but this body line, this body line, this body line, and this body line breaks it up way too much already that it kind of doesn't really need multiple colors. This angle here doesn't really lend to a Gene Winfield fade. I could do something using this line fading out in either direction, kind of more of a Darryl Starbird style. I do gotta kind of watch it that I don't go into the lowrider scene stuff, which is fine. It's not like I'll be running Dayton spokes or anything, but even with 5-spoke Traegers, it kind of tends to go that way. And just today we were talking about what genre, style, theme were you going? concept car, traditional, whatever. And I looked it up, and this would technically be just a classic cruiser. You know, slam it down a little bit on airbags, get rid of all the door handle trim and badges, which this one doesn't have any badges, just the door handle. And obviously trim doesn't mean the window trim and the side trim, just a clean, simple body. And then with the vents here, I do plan on adding some louvers, possibly on the hood, but most likely on the trunk, maybe even on the pillar. Because this, to me, now with the big open air, just becomes a big parachute as you're driving. So I'm thinking maybe some louvers on the side here, just to kind of let air out, would kind of make sense. But yeah, really not too sure on color yet, as far as the body, let alone the interior. And yeah, it kind of makes a difference. And it's kind of hard to see here, but I do have my lip for the trunk to land on now. This is without the back panel in there. I do got to make a floor pan to cover the gas tank, obviously. This is the interior without the seats, where the door mounts on and stuff. And I do have some .030, I think it is, half round that I'll be trimming on top of here. And then probably going to do the same on the front, just to give it that finished look. And then if I do it in chrome trim, it'll kind of verify that this space is intentional and doesn't have a target top for it. Because otherwise I can put a little lip sticking out from underneath down here, something that the hood could rest on, or the roof could rest on. And sadly, I found out my frame is warped right here. Technically, somewhere along in here. This side sits lower than this side, but seems all of this mounts solid to the underbody, and so does this. It'll be able to get clamped in. It won't affect the suspension in bits, so I do have to paint the chassis and the frame before I assemble the exhaust and the suspension back here, so that this can get squared away where it belongs. But anyway, as you can see here, there's no big bulbous bracket back here, and it kind of angles from the top to the bottom to pull the throttles. You can see the brass T, you can see the black breathers, the completely blue engine, the darker blue fuel filter, black plug wires, the gray exhaust with the really warm heads. It's been driven. I even drilled out the ground bolt so that I can put the ground wire on it. I'm not really too sure what to do with all the wiring concept. It is on my mind to do some underhood plumbing and wiring, simply because why not? I'm okay with it. I even drilled out the two things on the generator if I wanted to run these two wires, which, I don't know. We'll see when I get that far, I guess. But as you can see, I have a pretty decent plan, and I really like the 421 Super Duty motor in and of itself. It's definitely a factory beast, and it might be kind of hard to see right here, but there's a flange behind and a flange on side. So rather these were factory cutout options, or some way to switch between rear exhaust tailpipes and side pipes, or what these collectors were, this is pretty badass. That was a factory option. So anyway, this is my kit for the custom build. Kind of looking forward to seeing which direction I go. I did look up the name Catalina and found out it first appeared in history as the precursor name for a woman, and then became Catherine. And then, of course, it's been used in military and quite a few other options and stuff thereof. But the feminine side of this whole thing kind of leans me towards the, I don't know, pink, purple, pastel, red. I mean, baby girls are pink, baby boys are blue, and I don't know. There's a theory in that, I guess, but I'm not sure I'm 100% sold on it yet. So, color has kind of been the struggle, but I do have till December to figure it out and get it done by December. So I'm pretty sure I will, considering I'm more of a quick builder and can kind of do this stuff in a few weeks, no problem. This one's probably going to be on and off the bench a few times while I build a few other things, which pretty rad. I have a couple of my New Year's resolutions kits. I have a Big Daddy Ed Roth Mysterion kit in-house, ready to get built at any given time. I have a bid on Ed Roth Outlaw that ends tonight, and if all goes well, I should be getting that one, which, heck yeah. And I've already built the Road Agent so far this year. That would be 3. Technically 2 so far guaranteed, possibly a 3rd with the Outlaw. And beyond that, I think I've accomplished my goal for the year of build more Ed Roth kits. Kind of hard to disappoint, seems I've already done it. And I also made a chassis from scratch for a friend for an Orbitron that I had nothing on hand except for measurements, pictures and measurements. And I built the chassis to go under an Orbitron, which is an Ed Roth car. So there's that as well. So my goal for the year is complete as far as that goes. Other goals, dreams, ambitions, whatever. Probably sell off a bunch of rebuilders to make space because I ain't got enough shelf space for it all. But anyway, meanwhile, looking forward to seeing what other people do with their cars, and there's a wide collection of them. And if you can't get in this year due to the deadlines of entries and things, we hope to see you next year putting some pretty radical, cool cars together. The wheel spin option, it could be anywhere from 2 to 6 different options, depending on how the wheel plays out, and paint jobs and grills and wheels and interior options and added goodies and so much more. And there is no rule saying you can't do those things as well, but you have to have the trends that were chosen on the build no matter what. Everything else is optional, not mandatory. So this is kind of cool. I could throw a few more themes at this thing if I see fit to, like the antennas, which I'm probably going to do. Audio, video on the interior, if I want to do a tape recorder and a TV or something, or, you know, I could do any style of wheel from back in the day. Doesn't have to be steel wheel, white walls. Those are not a mandatory option on this one. Taillight treatment was an option back in the day. It's not really needed on this car because it's kind of cool. Yeah, there's plenty to play with. So I hope to see you all join in next year, if nothing else. And meanwhile, I'm not going to say I got to get busy building because I got way too much time already. So we just want to give you an update, say thank you for stopping by and being patient with my long intervals between videos. Our house gets kind of chaotic, and trying to record without background noise is a little bit tricky, so I got to plan my schedules for when nobody's here so I can do this, and then kind of wait until I get a hair up my butt and the time to do it. Both have to coincide, because otherwise I could have the time, but not the desire or the reason or whatever. So anyway, much appreciated, and we shall talk to you again soon. And there will be more updates on this car between now and December. I believe we got to do midway photos, which I can't say these are midway photos yet, but maybe once there's a color chosen and parts are still not completely together. I can do disassembled without a mock-up or with a mock-up, and then all the final detail stuff after, and finish it off and get final pictures. Then somewhere in there is a midpoint, so there'll probably be a video on that. If nothing else, there will be a final reveal video of this one, probably way before December, honestly, because I ain't gonna take that many freaking months to do this shit. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. So anyway, we'll see you again when we get that far. So till then, bye!